We have seen presentation of finally some RISC-V that is bound to fly in space. We will have, I take the NOEL-V in GS765 performance more than 10 times with what we are used to. What are we using this performance for? And is safe to use this performance in space? That's the question we are trying to answer. But first, the first question is, what is cybersecurity? Especially, what is cybersecurity for RISC-V in space? The easy answer is not only about cryptography and quantum, post-quantum stuff. As a matter of fact, before worrying about post-quantum, let's worry about quantum. This is my idea. There are already a lot of threats that not into the post-quantum thing. So, what is it? It's beyond the key encryption viruses. There's a lot of things going on in the world of cybersecurity on ground that is also applicable in space. In space, until now, we have been lucky because we have a satellite. It's done by a single prime that does, I'm looking at one of my favorite primes down there, that does the computer, does the satellite, programs the software in the satellite, and flies it in one of our rockets. So the security boundary of this is quite thin. The only reasonable security threat is an unloyal employee. All of a sudden, we are thinking about going into domains like satellite as a service. So we fly a satellite, and like with your Android phone, you will have apps done by a completely unknown third party that run on your satellite. That's why we wanted a virtualization capability on RISC-V. That's why we're discussing those things, to have unknown software running on it. That opens the door to a much larger security domain. Trojans. We don't have a European, we discussed, supply chain for microelectronics. Our microelectronics is developed in the Far East at the end. They should be worried about this stuff. We are talking about critical infrastructure. Space data systems are part of a very critical infrastructure. If Galileo satellites fail, we are in the street with shotguns trying to grab food for our neighbor. Payment system will fail, logistics system will fail, so it's a very critical infrastructure. As I said, it's becoming open to third-party users. So we are talking about a much larger security perimeter. And it's in the news. The government-size attackers can do big damage. It happened in Iran against their Iranian centrifuge. It happened recently between Israel and Hezbollah. So this stuff exists and has been proven in the world. So we need to worry about the whole cybersecurity picture to protect space assets. And what we're discussing here and the opportunity we have with RISC-V is to think about cybersecurity also at micro level for processors. So now the topic of the talk. Transient execution attacks. For those that are not aware, transient execution attacks are extremely simple timing attacks that exploit the time it takes from an application to access specific data to infer, from an attacker point of view, what the application is doing. There are several classes. I won't go in detail, but in oversimplifying, an attacker fills your cache. The cache is by default a shared resources that cannot be controlled at software level in terms of prioritization or putting a boundary around cache areas. The victim application needs to evict some line from the cache. So the attacker knows which cache line have been used and can steal data. The principle is so simple that one asks why it hasn't been discovered earlier than that. January 2018 was in the news everywhere that Meltdown and Spectre were the first two transients to attack Open. Since then, there are variations of Transient and Spectre discovered once, twice per month. Very recently, what I think now are the best developer of processor, Apple, was hit by two quite bad TAs, slap and flop, that also proven the capability not only to steal memory, also to replace execution lines from the attacker to the victim. So the attacker, with you simply running some JavaScript on a web page, can put in execution unwanted code on your computer. All Apple M-class processors are sensitive to that. What have we done specifically for that? Going back to our domain. We have taken a simple VCU 118. We put NOEL-V, not only NOEL-V, on it, and we have developed a suite of TIA to see if the NOEL-V is sensitive. This is very obscure, but take for granted that all the white lines are successfully. We have a victim program that's storing somewhere an encryption key, and the attacker program wants to guess this encryption key. It takes only 84 cycles or less sometimes to get this. We have proven this both without operating system. It's completely independent from the actual software you run on it. There is no way to protect the cache. There are some software countermeasures that can mitigate that. You flush the cache periodically, but then you take a horrible hit in terms of performance. That's what is done now to actually counteract Spectre meltdown in HPC, in servers, with a performance hit on the order of 20-25% and a power hit of the order of 40-70%. This is Spect V2, same. This Spectre SB, same. So, but it's not only about NOEL-V, of course. I've just thought about Apple, that's much bigger than Geisler, yet, but you never know. We have executed the TAs on CVA6. Where are the CVA6 guy? On Boom, where is my microchip? And we are procuring boards and testing on multiple orders. So, but we know they are all sensitive. Being in order or out of order doesn't mean anything. For Spectre meltdown, you're still sensitive. All the test architecture are sensitive to TAs. Conclusions. The mechanisms that allow TAs are currently exploitable even in RISC-V processors. So if you, the one old like me that remember when Linux didn't have virus. Yes, Linux is much more robust against virus. The openness of Linux and the openness of RISC-V make them intrinsically, I think, more secure because security loopholes can be exploited. But we have a microarchitectural issue. That's the fact that the cache is a distributed system. As the space field grows, we need, this problem will come. Maybe it's not today, but it's already early tomorrow. So we need to start to address this and use the freedom that we have thanks to RISC-V to redesign part of the architecture to make it invulnerable to some of the attacks. TAs are just an example. There's plenty around that. And we shouldn't copy the same errors that the de facto duopolist ARM and x86 have made in the past. They get us stuck with an architecture that was conceived in the 70s. They have improved this architecture without touching it, and we are now facing some serious security issues. If you want to test any of the processors where you presented these days against TAs, ask us. We have developed a suite that's easily portable on basically anything. It's extremely simple, and we will help you in doing that. And thanks to everyone that cooperated with that. This was quite fun and quite consequential. We keep us posted because we might have also some ideas about countermeasures.